Ciao, come stai e come ripresentare nuovamente un suo film al Trieste Science Fiction Festival?
Hello, how are you? And how it's for you to screen your film again at the Trieste Science Fiction Festival?
I'm really good because I've had the screening yesterday and it was crazy, and I love the people here, and I love the theater. It's just one of the best of the world. And yeah, it's I'm lucky enough to have all my movies being in Trieste, and actually I have a great memory of my very first screening for my first feature here, and winning the one of the awards, and it was crazy night. And I remember that just after we watched the the Spielberg movie. How does it say in English? Encounters of the Third Kind, and it was in 4K. It was crazy, but yeah, it was good to come here and to be back. I couldn't be there because of the COVID for my second feature, but I'm very happy to be there, and that's such an amazing place to watch the Deep Dark. Yeah.
Ogni lungometraggio parla del suo autore. Al momento le sue pellicole hanno le location piuttosto claustrofobiche, con un personaggio costretto a non dover sopravvivere in spazi molto angusti. Cosa la porta a prediligere ambientazioni claustrofobiche?
So, in all your film, there is a claustrophobic set with the people forced to survive and will fight to survive in very, tiny and narrow spaces. So, what, is your why in your film there is always this starting situation, I would say?
I had to talk about it to my shrink. There is something that, I don't know why, but something that, I can relate to. I don't know why, but I'm trying to do always, even if it's always claustrophobic, it's kind of different. The last one was with a girl stuck in a pipe, very narrow spaces, and now it's a bunch of guys running in the mines. So I was trying with that one to do claustrophobic, but with the darkness, not with the walls and tiny spaces, but just about the darkness and working like this, like Neil Marshall did in The Descent. So yeah, that was, I don't know why, but actually the next one is not so much about claustrophobia, but it's about being stuck in time. So there is something also like this, I don't know why, but
Questo suo film è meno fantascientifico di fronte ai primi due. Siamo in una storia ambientata nel passato e come mai questa scelta comunque mantiene sempre l'elemento legato al mondo horror, ai mostri che ha sempre appartenuto?
È un elemento. Oh, sorry. Your this film looks like less science fiction than Meander and Hostile. Of course, it's a horror genre. So, what was behind this choice that in a way, abandoned sci-fi?
it was the start of it was very about being in love with Lovecraft. So I love the fact that Lovecraft is kind of telling stories about scientists witnessing some crazy stuff, but in kind of a real historical way, and in books like At the Mountain of Madness and others, you can have that kind of, you have that professor or scientist is just digging stuff and finding, ancient civilization. And I love the fact that you can have, it's not about science fiction, you can have science in the fiction, and the fact that you can have that kind of characters meeting with social, workers. The mix is kind of interesting, and it's a change. I love science fiction, classic science fiction, but I love also the period science fiction. I think that science fiction is not just about the future. It's also about what's happened before, and you can have science fiction in the past, and that's why I tried to do with that, and it was completely inspired by Lovecraft books.
Riguardo al set, ieri ha detto che non ha utilizzato nessun effetto speciale, ma ha diretto tutto dentro questi cunicoli. Come è stato dirigere gli attori, la macchina da presa, la fotografia dentro un ambiente così particolare? particolare?
So the film was shot in location. We discussed yesterday. So how it was for you to work in such a tiny, and with a lot of actors.
Yeah, it was crazy first to find that location because I really wanted to, in my dreams I would love to find that location, and we did, a real one with, it was freezing and it was total darkness, no electricity at all, 5 kilometers of gallery like that. So it was crazy, and it was good for the actors to, stay in the characters and find some, reason to express some different feeling, and you could see on their face and the fact that they're breathing, you can see the smoke and stuff. All that was great. But it was kind of difficult to shoot there for many reasons. One example is, there is a lot of humidity. So the lenses have always, you have to clean them already all the time with the dust, the humidity and stuff like this. You have to, put them near to a warm machine just to, keep them warm. It was total darkness, even for the crew. So all the crew have that kind of, tiny lamps, modern one, but, we were all miners, trying to find some space, and there was no network, so no walkie-talkie, no cell phone, and we just, we started very early, so it was total darkness. It was by night, and then when we get out, it was by night because it was the end of the day, and we had that lunch. It was kind of near the exit, but it was also in the darkness. So it was crazy. For 6 weeks, we shot for 8 weeks, but 6 weeks in that space, and for 6 weeks it was crazy. And when you just got ill, you stay ill. You had to, when you're sick, you stay sick because so many humidities and freezing that some of the crew got sick and they had to stop the shoot for 3 or 4 days just to get well and come back. So it was crazy, but for everybody it was kind, it was hard the first week, but then it became something that helped us, to stay together and just finish the movie.
Una domanda sul concept visivo del mostro.
Magnifico. So
Get it.
yeah.
Yeah, the monster, I was trying to find something different. In Europe, you have great guys in Spain doing that kind of stuff and crazy designs. So I wanted to go something different because they're so good. I wanted to go, trying new stuff. And I go to Japan and I found that guy called Yoneyama Keizuke. He's a sculptor and he did a lot of Lovecraft sculpture. And I love what he did. Very different, very, dry and stuck, bone stuff. And I loved it. And I said to him, could we work together? Maybe create a design together? And he was like, yeah, what do you want? And I was like, that design called the Neo-Paranoid, one of his sculpture was a crazy monster. And I said, that kind of stuff. And he's like, if you want to take that one, you can, because it's one of my favorite. And it's my dream to see that little sculpture moving in a real movie. So if you want, take it. And we were like, that's amazing. So we had that crazy design. We just did many little stuff, but it's 90% the same design of his sculpture. And then I bring back the sculpture to France. My special effect guy, we did all the movie together, and he was like, this is not possible. It's going to be so complicated to make, but let's try. And we made it. And that's why we when you have that crazy monster moving, you have 7 guys behind it doing, this. And then this was mainly the only special effect of the movie. It was erasing the puppeteers, So yeah, that's how we made the design of the creature.
How tall it was?
Otto, yeah. Sometimes 7, sometimes 8, yeah.
No,
Oh.
How tall was the
Ah.
monster?
2 and 50 meters. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And by when the arms are open, it's pretty much the same, It was huge. Yeah, it was huge. It was taller than expected because, at the beginning, the Jean-Christophe Spadaccini, the guy who made it, he was, doing it, and he called me and said, I think I've made a mistake. It's a little bit taller than you want it. And I was, yeah, that's great. That's great. It works so well because now it's not human size. It's like a god, I loved it. So I said, all right, let's go. And I didn't thought about the fact that we had to shoot that in mines. So So it was, we had to bring the creature, on, just to lay it down like this, just to make it going inside. And when it was open, sometime the finger was just touching the ceiling. So
Grazie mille.
thank you. Grazie.